Hello, my name is Kaylee Peterson, and I'm going to do a speech over the Stanford prison experiment. So, we've all seen little ads in the newspaper that are asking for people to take place in an experiment. They want you to come and be part of the trial for so many days, and for being part of the trial, you get paid a certain amount. Well, that's exactly what happened in 1971 when Dr. Philip G. Zimbardo wanted to conduct an experiment to decide whether guards' aggressive behavior and police brutality was due to the sadistic ways and thoughts of the guards, or if it was because of the prison environment. So Zimbardo's plan to answer this question was to have 24 college men come and be part of this experiment. He wanted to have 2 weeks in a fake prison, and that fake prison would be in the psychology basement, and there would be cells that would be set up like real prisons. And he wanted guards to be there to maintain order, and the prisoners and guards were selected randomly. There wasn't really why this person was sentenced. He had 72 applicants, and only 24 were accepted. And of those accepted, they had to be put through a mental evaluation, and then they had a criminal background check done on them. So day one of the experiment, there was random arrests done to those who were selected to be prisoners. Um, a cop showed up at their house or workplace and handcuffed them and put them in a back of a police car and took them to Stanford's psychology basement. There they were stripped, shaved, and cleaned, and they were put in smocks and caps, and they had numbers on their smocks. That would be their new identity. In day one, we see that guards are already being aggressive. They have aggressive attitudes towards the prisoners with their newfound authority. And the effects on the prisoners were already being shown and displayed. We see humility because they were stripped and shaved and put in these smocks. And then their sense of self have already deployed because they have these new numbers as their names. On day two, we see a rebellion break out already. It's only day two, and the prisoners lock themselves in their cell and then strip away their numbers. Guards forcibly take charge to them and strip them out of their cells, take away their cots. On day two, we see the release of prisoner 8612. So, prisoner 8612 was the leader of this rebellion. He had the idea to go in and to kind of rebel against them because he thought they wouldn't do anything in response. This was an experiment. And so he was put in a cell by himself, which was their punishment cell, like in complete isolation. And there he had the complete emotional breakdown. He was sobbing and crying and begging to go home. So the psychologist in Zimbardo thought it was best to send him home. So on day five, we see another release of another prisoner. 819 was released that day. A priest came in on day five and just for an evaluation, just for an outside source to make sure they're still all doing fine. And the priest came in and was talking to everyone. And prisoner 819 did not make his bed that day, which he usually always did because he was considered a good prisoner. And 819 did not make his bed this day. And so the guards went and did checks on their beds, and they saw that 819 wasn't there and was with the priest, and that he did not make his bed. Well, the guards had the rest of the prisoners come out and look at his room and see that his bed was not made. And so they had the rest of the prisoners chant 819 did a bad thing. So prisoner 819 could hear that from the room he was in with the priest, and he had a complete breakdown. He was sobbing and crying. And then one of Zimbardo's colleagues, the psychologist, came in and told him to leave and that he was not a bad prisoner. He did not do a bad thing, and he was free to leave now. And he told the psychologist that he couldn't because he was a bad prisoner. Zimbardo finally had to step in and tell 819 that he was not 819, his real name was, and that he was just part of an experiment. This wasn't real at all. On day 6 is when we see the experiment shut down a week and a day early. Um, a colleague of Zimbardo, who was not part of this experiment, but was a colleague, wanted to come in and do another evaluation because she was really curious about the whole experiment. So Dr. Christine Melch came in to conduct her own evaluation. She was shocked at how these guards were treating these prisoners. They were taking their authority way too seriously and way too far. She finally had to tell Zimbardo, you have to shut this experiment down. This has gotten way too far. And so he did. Um, Later, in a later interview that Zimbardo had, he said that in the experiment, he got sucked into the experiment aspect of it and then believed it was real, just like the guards had. He said that he no longer felt like he was conducting an experiment and felt like he was a prison superintendent. So, now that I have told you about the Stanford prison experiment, hope that you can see how inherently good people can turn evil in right environment or under certain circumstances.